All right, so I thought I'd go ahead and give the California Weather Watch a channel here to do a live stream on this upcoming storm. Let's see how many. I want to close that out. I'll wait for a few people to get in here, but we're going to go over a few things here. Some exciting stuff coming up here for the state of California. Had some fun up here across the Pacific Northwest, some lightning strikes, some heavy rainfall, getting some mountain snow and some pretty cold air moving in. This is the same storm that's going to hit the Pacific Northwest, but yeah, so I'll wait a few minutes here and to see if some people can get in. There we go. Looks like the live stream is going, and make sure that the audio is okay. Close that. All right, so we got some people in here. It's nice to see that. Already getting quite busy in the chat. Channel gets pretty active during these active storm sessions here, so I thought I'd go ahead and give the live stream a chance and see how it goes. Looks like there's quite a few people already in the chat. Make sure to click like. It'll get the word out to a lot of people across the state, and you know, it'll get the word out to a lot of people. I know there's probably some people in the back country that'll still be caught off guard by this storm, even with all the warnings and whatnot going on. And you're going to see the winter storm watches have turned into winter storm warnings. You've got winter weather advisories for South Lake Tahoe, as you can see, but some pretty impressive snow totals coming up there. That's not 1 to 3 inches. That's 1 to 3 feet in this October snowfall. So it's definitely going to catch some people off guard. And I mean, I'm not sure. I remember reading the book, The Mothers, about the Donner Pass party going through there and how the winter started pretty early in that season, way back in the 1800s. But yeah, maybe this is what it was like. They started kicking things off pretty early in the season and snowed them in pretty quickly. But yeah, pretty early season stuff here rolling down across the west coast of North America. Looks like over 200 people in the chat already. So I'll check out some of the stuff here. Looks like I got Jerry Coate in here. Looks like some members are in the house. Yeah, just going over some of the stuff here. I've been getting here I'm up in Seattle right now, and I was thinking about coming down for this storm. I still might, actually. There's some pretty impressive rainfall is coming for Southern California. Maybe go to the coastal areas and try to catch a coastal tornado or a water spout or something out there. Fresno in the house, San Diego, California, Big Bear, Bass Lake, Oakhurst. Yeah, but some pretty interesting things going on here. As you can see, it's at 10,000 feet. You can see the Pacific Northwest, the same storm here is coming for California. And look at that very cold air aloft. I mean, this is like throwing, if you ever worked at a restaurant and you throw an ice cube into a deep fryer, there's some pretty warm water along Southern California. It's into the 60s, maybe even towards 70 degrees for Southern California, with extremely cold temperatures aloft. I mean, you're talking about, negative 10, negative 12 C. In fact, if we zoom in on this a little bit here, let's go to just California, and it'll actually tell us some of the temperatures, I believe. It's going to load there. But you can see the very cold temperatures with this upper level low, this cold core low moving down across the state of California, just perfectly carved out. And again, some pretty warm temperatures there, relatively speaking, with the water. And if we take a look here, you can kind of see that once you get into the greens, that's 68 degrees. It's 20 degrees Celsius. So yeah, there's some pretty warm water there. I mean, you're back down into the lower 60s here across some of the coastal areas, but it's well above normal. And if I click on the anomaly, you can see just how much above normal we are. So that's going to add to some of the fireworks with this storm system coming down out of the north. Yeah, there's going to be hail possibility. Thunderstorm activity is possible with this as well. In fact, let's look a little bit at that. We'll go to the state of California. We're going to go to severe weather, and we're going to go to lightning flash density. And actually, the 0Z run is going right. And actually, it's already completed, so that'll be good. So let's see. Let's watch this thing peel down across some of the coastal areas. Look at that, the Bay Area. This is late tomorrow morning there. Starts to pick up for the Bay Area. Some of those showers initially moving through into the Sacramento Valley, down the Central Coast, San Joaquin Valley. And then as we go on in through Tuesday, it doesn't show too much for Southern California, but I wouldn't put too much stock in that just yet. This will probably change. And they are talking about thunderstorm potential even across Southern California. And the precipitation amounts are going to be pretty impressive with this as well. And I'm just going to go to totals, and that kind of spoils it for you there. But check out some of these totals. I mean, you saw what I just showed you, and you see some of that precipitation. Look across some portions in the mountains, the transverse range of Los Angeles County, some hefty amounts. I mean, some of this showing up over 5-6 inches for some local areas. Lesser amounts for some of the valley areas, but some of the Sacramento Valley also getting some pretty decent precipitation amounts. And really south of the Bay Area, pick up on some of these very heavy rainfall totals, and there's probably going to be what is known as one of these narrow cold frontal rain bands. So if I put this into motion, you'll kind of see it right there south of Monterey Bay and kind of plowing in. It moves across Point Conception, some very heavy rainfall coming across Santa Barbara, Ventura County. Got to watch out for debris flows if you were near any burn scar areas, or if you're at the base of some of those hills in Southern California. Watch out for a lot of water come running off the higher terrain. I mean, look at that narrow cold frontal rain band there. If I go to Southern California and zoom in on that, you can imagine that ripping across the area, and that includes some of downtown there as well. So yeah, be careful out there. And this is on the morning, Tuesday morning. So this is late Monday night. We go on into Tuesday morning there. And again, some very heavy rain. Some of that does get down towards, you can see Orange County is right there. There's Ontario Airport, moves across Orange County and down towards San Diego. Maybe some moderate rain as well. You can see it's starting to lose its punch, but it does bring some of that rainfall all the way down through San Diego. But yeah, pretty intense stuff. Let's catch up on the chat here a little bit. All right, over 500 people in the chat. Not bad. Long Barn, California, 5,000 feet. Yeah, if you click thumbs up, it helps the word get out. Helps the word get out to people. I'll probably stick with this for another half an hour, 40 minutes, depending on how things go. I just wanted to come on here and say hi and let you guys know, and thanks for watching the channel here. I got quite a bit of views here over the last 48 hours. We're up, this channel's got 150,000 views in the last 48 hours. Bruce Cruz, thank you for the generosity. Good evening, weather people, and Michael. I will enjoy the rain in the days ahead in Southern California. Indeed. And we can check out other high resolution models also. The North American is in range. Sometimes this underdoes some precipitation amounts, but let's look at what it says here on the latest. Has some heavy showers moving through the Bay Area up into Sacramento Valley as well. Then look at how it just really starts to get going. Monterey County, down towards Point Conception. Again, look at San Luis Obispo. I mean, my goodness, look at that narrow cold frontal rain band. Some very vigorous precipitation in a very short amount of time. And these storm systems have been overperforming. From what I've been seeing here with the very warm waters, relatively speaking, these are going to be packing a punch, and that available convective available potential energy, otherwise known as CAPE, helps to add a little bit of juice to this cold frontal system. And of course, there's going to be some showers on the backside of that as well. You kind of see some of those moving through also. But the big warning out of this is it also shows that pretty strong precipitation across some of Southern California. And if I go to Los Angeles, let's zoom in on Los Angeles here. Look at that. I mean, my goodness. There's LAX. You got Burbank right there. Palmdale, Ontario. Where's Palm Springs? Off to the right there. But some pretty heavy precipitation rolling in here. And if we go to precipitation totals, I mean, my goodness, look at some of this. So we go through Tuesday morning. Even downtown LA, up over an inch. Pretty quick inch as well. And look at some of these totals across the transverse range showing up over 6-7 inches locally. And again, that's going to be coming very fast and furious. If we look at 12-hour total precipitation on the North American, sometimes this model can overdo this a little bit, but you saw the high resolution model showing something similar. But I'm toggling back and forth Monday night on in through Tuesday afternoon. Just some very heavy precipitation amounts. In any burn scar areas, you're going to want to know where those are and your proximity to them. You know, I don't know where you are individually, but you can see very heavy precipitation across the higher terrain. If we go to 24-hour totals, it gets even a bit more ridiculous. But even if we go to 6-hour totals, I mean, you're dropping that much precipitation here across Los Angeles County in a 6-hour period. That's going to be just wild stuff, man. That's almost worth flying down for and checking that out. And let's take a look at the high resolution model and go back and let's see if it lines up with what the North American is saying. So there goes that narrow cold frontal rain band. Man, it just really hammers Los Angeles. Goodness, right up into the transverse range. Again, this is only 6-hour totals, some showing up over 4 inches. And if we show this, actually, sorry about that. Let's go to the European model and let's go to 6-hour. This is not as high resolution, so this was going to show lower totals here coming across the region. But you can see really the bullseye, Los Angeles County across the transverse range. Also some pretty heavy amounts across Santa Barbara and Ventura County as well. And even Orange County getting some pretty decent amounts. Shows some precipitation moving across San Diego also. But this is not a high resolution model, but you can still see that it shows those big precipitation amounts. Just scroll back and forth. This is the Canadian model, is where there's California at the bottom left. Let's go back. Let's back up to the high resolution rapid refresh. And again, we'll look at that one more time. I'll go to the 0Z run and kind of look at that narrow cold frontal rain band. That's kind of a thing of beauty there, meteorologically speaking, coming right across Los Angeles. The lightning expert back again. Well, the thunder, Washington, Oregon, is this severe? No, not severe. No severe thunder. Well, actually, there have been a couple tornado reports here across Pacific Northwest. So those would classify as being severe thunderstorms. Granted, they're not that strong, but they do some damage. There was some damage coming in. I saw on some Facebook stuff that there was some damage here in Washington State from a couple probable tornadoes. 700 people in the chat. Welcome, everybody. If you can click on the like button, it gets the word out to a lot of people across the state of California. No doubt there are going to be people that get caught off guard by this storm system. We're going to back out a little bit here and we're going to go to the entire state of California. If my computer will play nice. There we go. And again, you can kind of see the storm system. It's coming down. A lot of cold air aloft, and abnormally warm water over the coastal regions is really going to make for a very nice lapse rate, meaning that warm air with the cold air aloft, those updrafts are going to have a little extra punch, and this is probably going to be overperforming for some areas. So you're probably going to be dealing with some flooding conditions. You really could be dealing with flooding conditions anywhere from some of the Sacramento Valley through the Bay Area. You see some very heavy rainfall coming across, and then this really gets organized as it moves down the central coast, Rounds Point, Conception there, and really just gets ramped up across some of Los Angeles County there as well. And yeah, some pretty heavy stuff on the backside of that also as we're going on in through Tuesday morning. That system just peeling across the area. Also, big mountain snows. We got winter storm warnings for a lot of the mountainous areas. I'm going to check back here with you in a minute, chat, but let's go to positive snow depth change in inches and look at the the high resolution model and look at some of that snow. I mean, 29 inches. This is snow depth. This is not some cherry-picked snow to cherry ratio that shows 44. Positive snow depth change in inches. You're looking 1 to 3 feet for some areas, especially some of the southern Sierra Nevada across the higher terrain. A little bit less as you go north. There's Lake Tahoe, maybe a few inches for you there. And then across some of the higher terrain of the Sierra Nevada. Big time snow incoming here. Jerry Coate, thanks for the support. And yeah, like Josh Corbin just asked, this is actual accumulating snowfall on the ground here. And this kind of really gets ramped up here as you're going on in through Monday night. Monday night into Tuesday morning, big time snow falling across some of the Sierra Nevada. So be careful if you're out there, because if you look down to the bottom right, the max is 28 inches, and there's pretty widespread activity here showing a foot or more across the region. And the snow levels generally, I would just kind of keep the number in mind of 6,000 feet. Once you get above 6,000 feet, maybe even a little lower in some scenarios here, but keep that in mind. The biggest total is probably above 6,000 feet. Davis, California. So the rain, when would the rain start? So I'm going to put this back into motion here. And you can see for the Bay Area there, you're talking about late morning, right around noon. It looks like on the latest high resolution model. And you can see there is lightning potential with some of those storms. And pretty good rain coming across the Sacramento Valley there as well. And then for Point Conception, you're probably looking late tomorrow night. And then for Los Angeles, very late Monday night into Tuesday morning, rolling across Los Angeles. You're going to wake up to some heavy rainfall with that. 2 to 3 feet, not as scary as 10 feet. This is true. Maybe we'll get 10 feet in January. Much needed rain indeed. Yes, that's just the problem here, though. Sometimes you really bring it in fast and furious, and it runs off a lot. It's a lot better when it falls as snow and it kind of melts at a slower pace and kind of soak into the ground and get absorbed a lot better versus rainfall, because rainfall tends to run off a lot more. And as I mentioned near the beginning of the video here, you can see that we are dealing with very abnormally warm water. So that just adds some juice to this frontal system and this upper level low. Big clash of temperatures. You know, you're going to have a lot of convective available potential energy, and it'll probably overperform from what you are seeing with some of these forecasts. If we go to Sacramento, looks like they're covering things pretty good. They got winter storm warnings all the way up, you know, towards Bernie, and you can see South Lake Tahoe winter weather advisory and winter storm warnings all up and down the Sierra Nevada, and maybe some higher wind gusts than that, even across the higher terrain, but 1 to 3 feet. And maybe I shouldn't have said 6,000, because they're showing snow levels down to 5,500 feet. So keep that in mind. And again, the main timing of this, 5 a.m. Monday through 5 a.m. Wednesday. Wumpy, thanks for the generosity. What are we seeing in San Diego County Monday, Tuesday? I work drive all day. You're probably going to get some moderate rainfall as we go on in through the day on Tuesday. It looks like it's going to start maybe during the morning and maybe some moderate rainfall. You still see it's raining pretty good there across some of Orange County, and it looks like it holds together across a lot of California, or Southern California, San Diego County there. I should clarify that. Palm Springs, you're going to be dealing with less precipitation amounts, but you could still get some out of this. If we go to Southern California, you can kind of see that cold front. It doesn't really bring too much in the way of precipitation. A lot of this is going to get wrung out on the higher terrain, but I wouldn't rule out some precipitation. But the main flooding is going to be across the higher terrain and maybe down into the areas where you're dealing with some of the debris flows and whatnot. Any marginal risk, Washington, Oregon, California? Yes, indeed, there is. Glad you brought that up. So let's go ahead and check that out. And we're going to go to forecast here, and we're going to go to severe weather and something interesting here, convective outlook. Let's click on that, and you can see here's the day one, kind of Washington, Oregon coast. If we go to day two, check it out. You see that marginal there? That's for wind along the coastline there. But I would not rule out a weak tornado with this stuff as well. And there could be still some small hail. If we look to day three, you notice that marginal there also for portions of Southern California. I think that does include Los Angeles County as well. So let's see what they say here. Instability will be fairly meager. I mean, that's relatively speaking. The Severe Prediction Center is used to dealing with Tornado Alley and whatnot, but there still is going to be that instability. Brief, so accompanied strong wind fields, low probability damaging wind gusts, and brief water spout to tornado threat appears warranted. So we may get this marginal here for tornado threat here across Southern California. This is the kind of upper level low that brings tornado threat to Southern California. And for whatever reason, that Los Angeles basin does get included in that. 900 people in the chat. If you click like, it helps the word get out more. So thank you for that. Hope you guys are having a good night. There could be some snow down to some lower elevations. If you're out and about, I would just be prepared for it. I mean, if you're at 5,000 feet, you could be seeing some snow for sure. Is my camera doing okay? I'm going to try to adjust this real quick. Okay. Looks like it's kind of high up on my room here. What state is this forecast for? This is for California. I'm doing California Weather Watch here. I talked about the Pacific Northwest a little bit. And the thing is, it's the same storm. So you can see this energy dropping down right now. This is bringing lightning and some heavy rainfall out there and some mountain snow across the Pacific Northwest. This is the same energy. This storm right here is creeping down the coastline. Very cold air aloft is going to clash with some these very warm waters, relatively speaking, here off the coast of California. And this will be bringing a strong cold front all the way down through Southern California. Some very impressive snow amounts here for the first half of October. And there is the potential for some very heavy rainfall, especially burn scar areas. Robert Bradshaw, thanks for the generosity. The Gore 54 Miller, thanks for the generosity as well. I'm driving to Mammoth Lakes from the Bay Area tomorrow at 4 a.m. You think I can beat the storm? If you leave the Bay Area at 4 a.m., I think that you will be all right, because there is... Tomorrow morning at 4 a.m. is right there. 5, 6, 7, 8. You'll probably be okay. I would say that you'll be okay tomorrow. Daryl Sands, thanks for the generosity as well. And again, if you missed this at the beginning of the video, oceanic temperature, you can see some of these temperatures towards Southern California are into the 70s there, and there's some 60s up the coast all the way to the Bay Area as well. But if we click on the anomaly, very cold upper level low with well above normal warm waters there off the coastline gives that atmosphere a little bit more instability. It'll make that cold front a little stronger. It'll make any of those storms just that much more strong, and that will increase the moisture being thrust into the Sierra Nevada and really dumping some snowfall across the higher terrain. Gulag, thanks for the nice and kind words. Jerry Coate in the house. Thanks for the generosity, good sir. Glad to see the California channel doing well. I mean, it's really, these storms are quite fun to watch, and I'm glad that you guys are tuning in. You guys make this all possible. I hope to get one of these plaques back here for the California Weather Watch channel. We're up over 42,000 subscribers now. We're almost halfway there. I wonder if we can get there over the next couple of years or so. Must be October. Yeah, any Dodgers fans in here? Your Dodgers playing in the World Series starting tomorrow. Game should be okay for tomorrow. Is it in Los Angeles tomorrow? I don't even know. Or did the Brewers have the better record? Somebody can tell me. I'm not going to look that up. But if anybody posts that in the chat, then I'll mention it. Because also Seattle is in the running to be in the World Series too. They actually won the first game here tonight up here, up in Toronto. But yeah, it's pretty wild up here in Seattle. So maybe there'll be a Los Angeles Seattle World Series. Wouldn't that be something? Yeah, lightning expert. There was a few lightning strikes here. I saw 3 lightning strikes at my house tonight. Got some pretty good thunder up here in the Puget Sound. So yes, we have had lightning tonight. And what was I going to... Will there be winds with this storm? That's a good question. Let's take a look at that here. So let's go to the North American model. My internet is a little bit slow here tonight. I don't know why. Maybe a lot of people on a Sunday night, but let's take a look. When this system rolls down, you'll see that winds will turn kind of southwesterly, and they do get fairly strong across some of the ridge tops of the higher terrain, the Peninsular Range, and some of the Sierra Nevada. And some of this will be gusty here along some of the coastline. And you can see with the cold front, it'll probably come in a bit blustery. You can see there will be some strong winds that moves down the Central Coast, Point Conception. And then as you go towards Los Angeles County, there will be some gusty southerly winds, but not exceptionally strong. We are not looking at a very deep low pressure system. It just does not develop out over the water enough. But the cold air aloft is really the story of this system. As you can see, you've got some pressure gradient out there, but it's just 999 millibar low or so as it tracks south. But take a look at this. If I go to 500 millibars and I back this up, just check out this bowling ball that just drops down out of the north. I mean, it's being a little bit slow there. There we go. And you can just kind of see it curl up right across California. My goodness, what a well-placed storm. And if I go to 700 millibars, this is about 10,000 feet. And I do the same thing. We back this all the way up. You can really see what is slamming into some of the Sierra Nevada there with this bowling ball. This tropospheric polar vortex pays a visit to the state of California. And this Sierra Nevadas are just going to get hammered here. I think this is going to overperform most likely and could bring some amounts up over that 1 to 3 foot range mentioned by the National Weather Service. My favorite kind of cheese, blue cheese, came to mind first. I like all cheese actually, but blue cheese, I like blue cheese dressing. I know a lot of people don't, but I like brie also. I like cheddar. I like whatever. You could probably eat any kind of cheese really. We're overdue for a strong. Yeah, we're moving into La Nina. I'm going to do another La Nina video here probably on Thursday because there's going to be new Climate Prediction Center information I'll be able to look at, and I'll be able to look at the latest weekly information tomorrow as well. Looks like over 900 people in the chat. Sacramento's going to get some rain for this storm. Yes, indeed. Tornado is possible for Los Angeles, believe it or not. And it's even talked about a little bit here. See that little marginal risk there, a little 5% that they include in the Los Angeles basin? Yeah, that cold front drops down south, and some of those segments will be spinning as they move inland there. And we have had tornadoes that do damage in Los Angeles. It is relatively not uncommon in Los Angeles County to get tornadic activity, especially with very cold air aloft that's moving down across the region. And you can see that here. Every model is in agreement with the storm moving down now. And this is at 10,000 feet on the European. There is 18,000 feet. If we go to 5,000 feet, you can see that cold air, even at 925 millibars. I mean, look at that cold air just circled down all the way close to the surface there, just pushing right across California. Oh, something else I want to look at here as well. So let's do this. Let's go to severe weather and we'll go to Helicity tracks. And we'll click through here. And now we start to bring that system down. This kind of shows you where these storms or where the rotation is occurring with some of these storms. And you can see some of these little segments here. You see this here? That's actually rotation within the storm itself. So we'll watch central here first. And you can see some of that move down towards Point Conception there. And it shows some of these Helicity updrafts. You can kind of see some of that across Southern California. So those might look a little bit innocent and innocent, but those definitely could have. You can see those Helicity tracks there near Point Conception, and you can also see those little lines right there. So there is that tornado chance is going to be apparent as we're going on into the day on Tuesday. That is Tuesday. Let me back that up. You can see some of this instability associated with the cold front, and then in the wake of that cold front there as well. And a lot of times this doesn't show up too up. That's actually not bad. This is significant tornado parameter. And you can kind of see how it favors some of the coastal areas as you get towards Los Angeles as you go on in through Tuesday morning. Supercell composite, something similar. But yeah, very well. I would not be surprised to see waterspout tornado activity, really Central Coast South. Even the Bay Area, I wouldn't rule it out, but all the way down through Southern California for sure. Wave action is not too impressive with this storm system here. It's not spending a lot of time out over the water, so you're not getting the big fetch of wind, bringing the very strong waves with it. You will get a bump in the wave action, but it's not like what we'll probably get at some point in December, January, or February when we get one of our big storms in here. Trader Joe's blue cheese is good. I've not actually tried that. Thanks everybody for the donations. The generosity helps keep this channel going. The channel's doing quite well. If you're just joining, we've gotten up over 150,000 views here in the last couple of days on the channel. So it's a lot of people are getting the word is getting out about this storm. So that is very important because there are millions of people out here, as you guys know, and somebody always gets caught off guard. So let's run this back here one more time. Actually, I'm going to show you something here. We'll go to regions and I'm going to go to west. And you can see where we are now, and you can see why the thunderstorm activity and even a possible couple tornadoes across portions of the Pacific Northwest with this storm already. So this is the same storm coming to California. This is coming through tonight into tomorrow morning for portions of Oregon. It starts marching down the California coastline. And you can really see it ramp up as we get through the day tomorrow for the Bay Area. So yeah, that's that same storm across Pacific Northwest right now. Precipitation all the way down the central coast, all the way down towards Southern California. Look at how strong the frontal system is moving across Santa Barbara, Ventura, Los Angeles, and Orange County, and maybe even getting down towards San Diego. A little bit less certain on that. And then this is just going to be absolutely hammering the Sierra Nevada. Just wild snowfall amounts coming in here. Now I want to go do this first. Mean civil pressure and precipitation type. And we're going to zoom in on California again. And you'll see that snow start flying as we go on into tomorrow morning, Northern California, and then we really get ramped up. I mean, look at that precipitation in the form of snow across the higher terrain. Just a lot of snowfall going to be coming. And like I've been mentioning, warm water out here is going to add fuel to the fire, and that's really going to probably overperform with some of these precipitation amounts. I mean, look at some of these amounts across Southern California, and the Sierra Nevada is getting hammered. What a storm for California. My goodness. We need these more often. Wow. I'm just geeking out on this toggling this back and forth. And again, that starts here on very late tonight into tomorrow morning. And it really gets ramped up as we go on in through Tuesday. The Gore Miller 54. Could you tell me what you think about snowfall amounts in Mammoth Lakes? I sure would appreciate it. I'm going there for work. No pleasure. What elevation are you going to be at? Please tell me what elevation you're going to be at. So Mammoth Lakes is around 8,000 feet. That's kind of what I thought, but I wanted to make sure there, and I want to see exactly. Yeah, Mammoth Lakes. So that is basically right in here. I mean, you could easily be looking at 2 feet of snow on the ground in Mammoth Lakes. Let's see if he chimed back in here, if he knows his elevation. But I assume you're around 7,500 to 8,000 feet. You're probably looking at least a foot of snow that's going to be on the ground, and probably 2 and maybe even 3. And I wouldn't be surprised if some areas get over 3 feet of snow out of this. And if I go to winter, so I haven't looked at the NAM yet, so let's take a look at this. This is a total snow on the ground. The Mammoth Lakes is somewhere right in here. Is that what we're looking at? Let's see. Yeah, I think, isn't the Mammoth Lakes right in there? So yeah, you could be expecting, a foot, maybe up to 2 feet here on the North American. But the high resolution model shows quite a bit more. And if I scroll through that, I mean, look at that. My goodness. You're talking 2 feet on the high resolution model. Some of the higher areas are probably going to be pushing 3 feet out of this. I have a feeling this is going to overperform with all the warm water off the coastline. Here's something fun to look at as well. The temperature anomaly. Pretty chilly upper level low, even for British Columbia and for Washington for this time of year. Same thing for Oregon. There goes that low across California. And you can see, my goodness, just how absolutely unusually cold this upper level low is. And in fact, if I do this and I go to Northern Hemisphere, California, along with some portions, Asia over here, just you can see where the most rare storms are right now, or actually as we go into the next couple of days. But yeah, you can really see it opened up across California, and you're beating much of the rest of the Northern Hemisphere there. So yeah, you are in the right spot if you want the action. Let's go back to, I'm going to just click back. There we go. No, I don't expect any more marginal risk in Washington out of this storm. Lightning expert, thanks for the generosity. Hopefully you got to see that if you're up there in Washington. There were several, actually more than several lightning strikes. There's quite a bit of lightning out of the storm just across Pacific Northwest. And if you're just joining, I think there was 2 tornado reports here up in Washington state from the storm. And I have a feeling some of that's going to translate down towards California as well. Looks like we're getting close to 1,000 people in the chat. If you click like, it gets the word out to more people. Thanks everybody for the generosity. Did it, let's see, did the Gore 54, did he give a response there? I'm assuming he's 7,500 to 8,000 feet. Yeah, Long Beach, California, you're famous for getting some of these low top storm, these tornadic storms. And let's do this. Let's actually go back to the high resolution model. We're going to go to precipitation totals. I see some people asking about precipitation totals here. So let's go out to the 0Z. And we'll kind of scroll through here. Oh, I see the Gore 54. He said, I believe. So Mount Shasta, you can see you might be getting an inch or so out of this. The heavier amount, it looks like northern Sacramento Valley. Mount Shasta is a little further north. So I wouldn't be surprised if Mount Shasta got a water equivalent over an inch. But of course, across the higher terrain, it's going to be in the form of snow. You can really see where the hot spots here. Some of the foothills of the Sacramento Valley, northern Sacramento Valley, some of the Bay Area, some pretty heavy precipitation moving across. Coastal range, you get a little bit of rain shadowing here across some of the San Joaquin Valley. It really ramps back up across the Sierra Nevada and Southern California. Los Angeles County has just been bullseyed by some of these high resolution models. In fact, if I go to the North American model, let's see if I can get that to load. Come on. There we go. You can also see the bullseye on the North American model there as well. Why don't we do this? Let's see if we can draw the her on this portion of that. There we go. You can see that it really gets the transverse range pretty heavily there. I mean, pretty dynamic storm. And like I mentioned, this is going to overperform. Day 1, day 2. So day 2, you can see the marginal risk. And day 3, see how they're starting to put this slight risk in there? So a deep upper level low will continue to dig south early in the period before turning east across California into the Great Basin. Before turning inland, this system will support an ongoing threat for heavy precipitation, the focus shifting south along with its associated axis of deep moisture flow across Southern California into the southern Sierra Nevada. Marginal risk, okay, yada, 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 upper jet dynamics, orographic ascent, okay, blah, blah, blah. Isolated runoff concerns, especially over vulnerable burn scar areas. And I wouldn't be surprised if there was an upgrade to this as well. I think that they should put a wider slight out for the transverse range. And they might even put one out for some, well, the Sierra Nevada, enough of that might be snow or they may not. But they might include some of this up into the Sacramento Valley a little bit more as well. But that's kind of academic at this point. I think the heavy precipitation is on its way. Let's hope that 9.0 doesn't hit anytime soon for California. Especially not a shallow quake or something. Could you imagine? Happy Chappy, Mammoth Mountain, base 8,000, crest 11,000. Yeah, I like sleeping during the rain. It's kind of nice. Nice ambient noise. Nice white noise. Yeah, I would say there's funnel clouds are possible. Yeah, let's take a look here. Sacramento has more information. Snow forecast looks like Donner Pass saying 8 to 12 on I-80. So you got to be careful going across I-80. Echo Summit. Look at Ebbets Pass, 24 to 30 inches. Sonora Pass, 2 to 2.5 feet as well. So yeah, watch out for some of these lower elevations here as well. 5,500 feet. I mean, Donner Pass is at what, 7,500 feet, 8,000, something like that. Rain forecast, Sacramento, inch and a half. It lowered that for San Francisco, but I wouldn't take that as gospel either because some of those heavier precipitation amounts are going to be kind of hit and miss. So I wouldn't be surprised in San Francisco, some areas got up over, the Bay Area up over an inch. Water equivalents across some of the Sierra Nevada between 2-3 inches, maybe even a little bit higher. This is also, it seems kind of silly for a lot of people, but this is huge. You can imagine if you got a bunch of water running down your street and it's skipping a drain, that water is going somewhere. And I've seen this just absolutely go into people's basements and wash out foundations and all kinds of weird stuff. You think, what's the big deal? It's just some leaves clogging the drain. But when it gets ramped up and this just flies by and goes into somebody else's yard, or your neighbor doesn't clear this out and this is going into your yard, it's a big deal. So, I mean, just simply clearing the leaves out of some of these drains is a big deal. And, if you're out and about driving, check your tires, wiper blades, fluids, lights, unclog your storm drains and your gutters of your house too. I mean, if you're in an area where it hasn't rained for a while, clear those gutters. You don't want that stuff coming over your roof and back down into your siding and all kinds of nasty stuff as well. I've had that happen at my house. Hello from Stockton. Yeah, you could get some snow across the higher terrain of the transverse range as well, all the way down through Southern California. Gusty winds and 50s here in Reno. Yeah, I could feel the temperature change up here in Seattle. It was like in the low 40s and raining here. And I had to go out towards the foothills to go my son's soccer game this morning. It was raw. So that storm is coming all the way down the West Coast. You guys are up next. 4,200 feet off on 20 on the way to Tahoe. If you get one of those heavier showers, I wouldn't be surprised to see snow down that low, but it's probably not going to be a lot and it's probably not going to hang around that long. All right, we've got somebody from Whidbey Island in the house here who is now in Oxnard. Welcome. Hopefully you're still a subscriber of both channels. But yeah, here's another view of things here on the mid-level water vapor. Look at this impressive amount. You can kind of see the pattern change. Everything is out of the north. This impressive amount of cold air is just driving down. So this is the development of the storm on its way. And you can see all those lightning strikes flashing across the Puget Sound, coastal waters, Oregon, Washington as well. I saw 3 lightning strikes and I heard thunder a couple of times. One was pretty close, shook my house a little bit. I actually heard thunder 3 times today because I heard one a little bit earlier in the afternoon as well. Yeah, windshield wipers, another good thing to replace. Maybe the storm will get people. It's always a good thing to be prepared as the fall and the winter months come up here. Yeah, we got this kind of upper level low well out over the Pacific Ocean. Passing planes can probably see that lightning there. But yeah, this is the next storm up right there. Still getting some lightning strikes across portions of Arizona actually right now as we speak. Closest lightning is off the Oregon coast. That's going to be making its way down towards California here as we go through tomorrow. Yes, early Tuesday morning, Los Angeles. Early Tuesday morning. Let's go over it again. North American model on the left versus the high resolution model on the right. So if we scroll on in through tomorrow morning, it's coming down across Northern California. Go through the day tomorrow. You can see some of these heavier bands of precipitation move in towards the Bay Area, wraps back up into the Sacramento Valley, and then it really hits Bay Area south across the central coast. And as we go on in through, what is that? Tuesday early morning is when the precipitation is going to be rolling across Santa Barbara, Ventura, Los Angeles, and eventually Orange County as you go on later through the day. And I mean, some of the transverse range is just going to get absolutely hammered with this storm. Just impressive precipitation amounts. Watch out if you're near burn scars or any steep terrain or any canyons, dry washes. You guys know who you are. Those dry streams are going to come to life tomorrow. Don't be driving through flooded roadways. Stuff washes out. People get killed every single year by that type of flooding, and making one bad decision is not worth it. Do not drive through flooded roadways. Yeah, when I've lived in Tonopah, Nevada before also. I see everybody mentioning where they live. I lived in Whittier, California for a while. I lived in Tonopah, Nevada for a while. So yeah, I did enjoy it down there. It was always fun. Anytime it rained at all, it was a pretty big deal in Los Angeles. Anybody that lives there kind of knows that when it does rain there, it's a pretty big deal. I remember getting like a quarter of an inch of rain. It was all over the news for like 2 days. Close to 900 people in the chat still. Hopefully people are clicking on that like button. Get the word out to more people. I've got about another 15 minutes I can do here, I feel, and then I'll have to wrap things up. Got a few things I have to take care of before I head to bed, and I'll try to get up nice and early tomorrow morning and do one more full briefing before that storm hits, and who knows, maybe another live stream tomorrow. Born in Whittier, yeah. I lived there out towards on Weeks Street. Weeks. San Luis Obispo County, yes, watch out. As you can see, both models have some very heavy precipitation. You could be looking at 2-3 inches and isolated amounts of even more. And this is going to come fast and furious. This is total precipitation. But watch what happens if I just click on 12 hours here. There we go. This is 12-hour running totals. Look at some of these amounts. I mean, the high resolution model is showing up over 6 inches for some isolated low areas. Absolute, there's going to be some pretty heavy flooding from that. I don't care if the ground is saturated or not. The soils out here, the shallow soils are not designed to really, it's just what happens in Southern California. This stuff runs off fast and furious. These dry washes come to life, and that's why they design things like the Los Angeles River, because it can handle huge amounts of rainfall, and it does it for a reason, because we're fairly close to the subtropics here around portions of California. So when you get some of these storms, you can get tropical systems, you get some of these potent cold fronts, and they hang up over given areas and they're tapping some of that subtropical moisture. You can just bring impressive amounts of water into the region, even though most of the air is not too bad across much of the state. When it gets bad, it gets really bad. Palm Springs, you're generally on more of the rain shadowed side. So if I scroll through, you can kind of see how things really get rung off across the higher terrain. The transverse range is getting hammered, but once you get east there across some of the San Bernardino County, you're not getting nearly as much rainfall out of this as places across the mountainous areas or some of the coastal areas. If I scroll through, you see not much of that precipitation is making its way on east. Yeah, they'll get some orographic lifting for sure into the Santa Ana Mountains. Yeah, thanks for the subscribe. Thank you. Yeah, it looks like a relatively short-lived La Nina, even though we are colder than we were this time last year across the equatorial Pacific. So it'll be a little bit closer. Last year was officially probably going to be classified as a neutral year, and this one is going to be a little bit closer to La Nina. Yeah, I may just live stream anyway for Tuesday. Maybe I'll wake up early Tuesday morning and do a live stream or something like that, because that's when Southern California is going to be really getting hit with this storm. Yeah, I'm getting so tired I can barely even see straight now. Didn't sleep much last night. Tried to get up early and do my briefings before I ran my errands today. But there's that temperature at 18,000 feet. Just an impressive amount of cold air. And we're really dealing with a lot of warm water off the coastline too. So you can imagine the clash in temperatures. Very cold air aloft. Relatively very warm air at the surface, especially across the ocean area. It's really going to add some fuel to the fire. It's going to make this cold front a little bit stronger than it normally would be. Yeah, that's something I noticed too. When I drove down from San Francisco to Los Angeles in the 2023 floods, and there were homeless people camping out in some of the middle of the rivers right before the flooding was starting. And I just wonder how many of those deaths go unreported with some of the migrants and immigrants in some of those areas, and some of the homeless people and the dry washes and stuff that, they're dealing with mental illness and they don't know what's coming. And there's probably a lot of deaths that go unreported. Yeah, good time to be working from home. Don't go out on the roads if you can avoid it. So definitely. And there's at 10,000 feet. We'll watch the progression of this, what I like to call bowling balls, actually tropospheric polar vortex breaking off and sending its energy all the way down through California. A lot of cold air aloft. And when it does that, of course, Mother Nature wants to balance things out. Just huge amounts of precipitation incoming for people here, and probably going to overperform in snowfall across the higher terrain as well. Oh, I hate ending the live stream with over 700 people still in it, but we got up over 1,000 people in here, and I'm glad to see a lot of you guys come in here. Thanks for the donations and whatnot. You guys helped make this channel possible. Hoping to make this like a permanent career thing and run a few of these channels. I also run Worldwide Weather Watch. It just got monetized as well. So there's 3 monetized channels, and maybe if I continue with that, I can make this more of a realistic possibility, just kind of doing this full time. I'd love to do that. Yeah, we live streamed when we went down there too. That was about 2.5 years ago. It was pretty fun. It was pretty interesting seeing the Highway 101 completely underwater and shut down. We were one of the first cars that got stopped, so we just got to sit there and watch it for a couple hours before it finally retreated enough before we could drive across. But there were people abandoning cars and whatnot, and it was wild. And that eerie smell of that dirt, the huge amounts of dirt that gets run off in that heavy rainfall was pretty wild. Thanks for hyping the channel. Yeah, that's a new thing with YouTube, isn't it? Hyping the channel. But I guess it does give it exposure. But anyway, I'm going to end the live stream now. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I'm going to try to do this maybe I'll just do it tomorrow night, because that gives us the storm will not be impacting Southern California by then. We can go over some more details. We can look at some new model data, and we can look at some of the wording of some of the warnings here. In fact, we'll do that here really quickly. Let's do that really quickly before I go. So you can see some of the flood stuff. The flood watches are in effect for portions of Southern California. So I'm not going to go into it too much right now because this is going to change, but I'll try to do another one of these tomorrow night since we had such good turnout. We had 1,000 people in the live stream, so you guys deserve it. I think it'll be very beneficial. So I'm going to try to do this again tomorrow night. So anyway, hope you guys are having a good night. I'm going to end the stream now, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. I plan on doing my normal briefing tomorrow morning here as well. So thanks again, everybody.